And a frosty good morning to the world here. Monday, January 22nd, 2024. Our producer is celebrating his birthday today. He is exactly 66 and 1/2 years old. Happy half birthday, Grandpa Bob. Wow, Christmas was almost a month ago. Time flies. We start the day with a buzz, so to speak.
A recent study published in the Journal of Neuroscience Research suggests that there may be a connection between cannabis use and empathy.
The study involved 85 regular cannabis users and 51 non-users, who completed a test measuring empathy and underwent brain imaging.
Cannabis users scored higher on emotional comprehension, indicating an improved ability to understand others' emotional states.
The brain imaging results also showed greater connectivity in areas associated with emotions and empathy in cannabis users.
However, it's important to note that the study doesn't establish a cause and effect relationship between cannabis use and empathy.
Researchers speculate that cannabis users may experience reduced anxiety, which could lead to higher empathy levels.
In a separate 2022 study, college students with varying THC levels in their urine showed potential positive effects of cannabis on pro-social behaviors, empathy, and morality.
The findings suggest that there might be a link between cannabis use and enhanced care for others.
Some experts believe that individual and situational differences could influence how individuals react to cannabis, making it have different effects on different people.
Overall, while the research indicates a potential connection, further studies are needed to fully understand the relationship between cannabis use and empathy.
And I am sure tonight, all across America, numerous Americans will be lighting up when they hear the bad news about Trump leading in the polls. Karen, take us to the story.
In a recent Washington Post Monmouth University poll, it was found that 52% of potential Republican primary voters in New Hampshire are supporting Donald Trump, while 34% are backing Nikki Haley. The survey was conducted from January 16th to 20th, with a margin of error of plus or minus 4.2 percentage points.
The poll also revealed that Trump's support has grown by 6 percentage points since November, while Haley's support has nearly doubled from 18% in the same period. This suggests a clear lead for Trump in the upcoming primary.
Interestingly, the poll showed that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was at 8%, but this data was collected before DeSantis announced the suspension of his campaign. DeSantis's exit and endorsement of Trump could further boost Trump's support in the primary.
Haley's strategy has been to target undeclared voters who can participate in the Republican primary in New Hampshire. The poll found that these undeclared voters support Haley over Trump by 10 points, showing her potential to gain ground.
However, Trump seems to have stronger support from the party's conservative base, leading by 28 points among voters who claim to be extremely motivated to vote in the Republican primary.
Another interesting finding is that about half of potential Republican voters in the New Hampshire primary believe the false idea that Biden won the 2020 election due to voter fraud, showing the influence of Trump's claims about the election within the party.
In terms of trust on various issues, Trump leads Haley in areas such as immigration policy, economic policy, and foreign policy. Trump also enjoys a 52-point lead among white evangelical Christians in the state.
Haley's favorability ratings have declined among New Hampshire potential GOP primary voters, with 46% having a favorable view of her, down from 56% in November.
Overall, the Washington Post Monmouth University poll provides valuable insights into the dynamics of the upcoming Republican primary in New Hampshire, with Trump holding a significant lead over his remaining challenger, Nikki Haley.
Meanwhile, in the Middle East, things aren't moving in the right direction.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected conditions proposed by Hamas for the release of hostages held in Gaza. The conditions included ending the war and the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Strip. Netanyahu also reiterated his opposition to the two-state solution backed by the United States.
The Gaza Health Ministry reported that the death toll in the Strip passed 25,000. The October 7th Hamas attack on Israel is among the most well-documented in history.
Hamas had released more than 100 hostages in a deal negotiated by Qatar in exchange for a pause in fighting. A growing group is spreading falsehoods and misleading narratives about the October 7th attack. The Biden administration is preparing plans for a sustained military campaign against Houthi militants.
Okay, enough about the war. Turning to sports, Karen.
In the NFC Championship, the Lions will face the 49ers next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. in Santa Clara, California. Detroit reached the conference title game for the first time since 1992, with a 31-23 win over the Buccaneers. The Chiefs will take on the Ravens in the AFC Championship next Sunday at 3 p.m. in Baltimore.
During their final possession, the Bills held the ball for 6:40. With Allen nearly losing a fumble on a scramble, they managed to move inside the Kansas City 30, but Allen couldn't make another play, and Bass missed a crucial kick. Travis Kelce turned and threw the football into the stands after scoring a touchdown. While Bills fans retaliated by throwing snow, Kelce formed a heart with his hands, symbolizing Swift in his family's luxury box.
The Chiefs had taken their first lead in the second quarter, thanks to a 22-yard touchdown pass from Mahomes to Kelce. However, a fumble controversy gave Buffalo a reprieve, and a questionable punt play decision by coach Sean McDermott raised eyebrows. The game featured a series of 5 consecutive touchdowns traded between the Chiefs and Bills that swung the lead, ending with Tyler Bass missing a 44-yard field goal attempt with 1:43 left in the game.
In the end, the Chiefs secured a 27-24 victory, advancing to their 6th consecutive AFC Championship game, while the Bills faced a bitter offseason.
The duel between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes showcased their incredible quarterbacking skills, with both players refusing to yield or punt. Mahomes emerged victorious, further solidifying his status as an all-time great.
Well, soon the football season will be over. Maybe I will sign up to a dating site and hopefully find a partner, unlike the bad choices I have made for myself in the past.
Many older daters are looking for different qualities than when they were younger. That might be a good thing for you, Tom. About 30% of adults over 50 are single. There's no pressure to procreate or find the perfect future parent. Relationship experts and over 50 daters say there are surprising benefits.
Older daters are pickier than younger ones. Older people tend to know themselves better and can more easily suss out when something may not feel right. The love system is a brain system like the anger system or the fear system or the surprise system, she said. As people age, their sex drive begins to reduce, but the intense romantic love and attachment apparently do not.
Even pop culture is getting into the older dating game. 1 in 6 Americans 50 and older have used a dating site or app, according to Pew. The numbers may partly be explained by the climbing divorce rate among older Americans. People at 50 know there's a good chance that they will live another 30 years. And if they're in a relationship which is not satisfying, they think, I don't want this, I want something better for myself.
That's all the motivation I need. At least I still have a driver's license, so I can take my new date out on the town. Karen, what do we know about seniors and driving?
In 2021, nearly 50 million people aged 65 and older held driver's licenses, a 38% increase from 2012.
Motor vehicle deaths among people 65 and older increased by 34% in 2021, reaching 7,489.
There are no national standards on when older adults with cognitive impairment should stop driving.
Up to 75% of seniors evaluated by Laurie D. Greasemore had some type of cognitive impairment.
Many older adults with mild cognitive impairment continue to drive, despite caregiver concerns.
Family members can help seniors explore alternative transportation options, like Uber and Lyft.
Advanced directives for driving are non-binding, but can help clarify when it's safe to continue driving.
The University of Michigan's Lewis Morgenstern plans to sign an advanced directive for driving at age 65.
Driving is associated with independence, making it an emotional issue for older adults.
Damn right. I never want to give up my 1967 Pontiac Parisienne. Anne Lamott is a contributing columnist for The Washington Post. Karen, let's examine some of her thoughts on aging.
I can still walk the flatter trails of our mountain, where the streams have begun to fill with rainwater, though not enough to actually flow yet. The peace of nature wears down the fear and hatred that arise in me on bad days. I often remind myself of something the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. said that helps me focus. Don't let them get you to hate them. When they do, I lose me, I lose my center and my goodness, which will be needed for the hard work ahead of being older and saving democracy.
The miracle brain pills are in a different drawer, with the kerchiefs. Friends swear they work, but nope. A month later my mind is still perforated like a pie crust poked with a fork, and memory slowly leaks out. So twice a year I go to Sephora and announce that I'd like to buy a miracle. And wonderfully, they always have the exact right thing. Age has helped most of us care less about our outsides.
It is stunning to accept yourself. I am always going to have a womanly butt, and now I appreciate it. It's a nice seat cushion.
One of the blessings of age is that most of us get along with ourselves better than when we were young. I spend a lot of time looking out the window. Age has given me this time and intention. But what do we do with the seemingly unmiraculous? Every so often, even in heartbreaking times, the soul hears something so true out of the corner of its ear that it perks up, looking around like a meerkat for the source.
Truly a point of reflection. Where is my coffee? At least I can afford a date. Young folks can't even afford a house these days. What is up with the teenage work situation these days? Are kids finding work?
Teen employment reached a 14-year high last year, as new opportunities and higher wages draw high schoolers to the workforce. Many high school students like Grace Wong are now taking on part-time jobs to gain meaningful work experience and make money while balancing their tight schedules. Interest in Wisconsin's youth apprenticeship program has quadrupled after the pandemic, offering paid work in various industries to students.
Some states are loosening child labor protections, allowing younger teens to work in industries like serving alcohol or working longer hours. Fast food companies have faced scrutiny for overworking teenagers, scheduling late hours, and dangerous kitchen tasks. Despite potential risks, high school students are increasingly willing to work as employers struggle to find workers, especially in service jobs.
The uptick in youth employment follows decades of steady declines, with fewer teenagers in the labor market since the late 1970s. Rising school demands, competitiveness for college admissions, and the changing nature of part-time jobs have all contributed to this trend. Higher wages, pay boosts, and improved starting pay have attracted more teenagers to join the workforce, especially in entry-level positions.
Can we send the office boy to Tim Hortons? I need a double-double and a walnut crunch donut. Don't tell me they stopped making them. Sheesh. Okay then, a couple chocolate dipped. Here's an extra $1, put your kid through Harvard. I understand we are living in a Changan world. Even the way we communicate is changing. Take texting for example. Interesting article in the Washington Post by Tatum Hunter.
The article talks about the evolving etiquette of texting in 2024. It mentions how old texting rules are falling away and new ones are emerging.
Yes, it's interesting to see how texting has become the default mode of communication, even for important matters.
That's right, and it also highlights the challenges of generational differences in texting etiquette.
The article mentions that during the pandemic and with the rise of social media, texting norms have shifted.
It's true, there's contradictory advice out there, like whether it's rude to let a text sit or expect an immediate response.
And it's interesting to see how texting rules are evolving with emojis, all caps messages, and more.
The younger Post, who co-wrote the 19th and 20th editions of Emily Post's Etiquette, suggests that adapting to these changes is essential.
She believes that Emily Post, a titan of American etiquette, would have adjusted her advice to reflect the changing times.
So, it's all about finding a balance between old and new texting etiquette in today's world.
And respecting boundaries while using texting as a communication tool.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating exploration of how technology has shaped our social and professional lives.
And how we need to adapt our etiquette accordingly in this digital age.
Humans are forced to adapt when change occurs suddenly. Like through natural disaster. Remember the big fire that destroyed Maui? I wonder how those folks are doing.
Funny you should mention that, Tom. Thousands of residents in Lahaina, Hawaii gathered for the Lahaina Unity Gathering, the first mass gathering since a devastating fire in August destroyed much of the town, including at least 100 lives and thousands of homes. The event, organized by the nonprofit Lele Aloha, aimed to memorialize the past and prepare for the future, showcasing the strength of Hawaiian culture through traditional practices, hula dances, and chants.
Supporters from across Hawaii and even deep-water voyaging canoes, including the renowned Hokulea, traveled to Lahaina to show solidarity with the community emphasizing the importance of unity during challenging times. Residents of Lahaina expressed their frustration with the government's slow response to aid delivery and the ongoing housing crisis for evacuees, with protests and demands for long-term housing solutions.
Local officials, including Hawaii Governor Josh Green, faced criticism from groups like Lahaina Strong for not taking more decisive actions, such as banning short-term vacation rentals to create space for evacuees.
Well, it is good to know government is working to solve our problems. What is happening in Congress these days, Karen?
Congress keeps punting on the hard work, then leaving town for recess.
The latest stopgap funding bill gave lawmakers an early March deadline, but now their schedules call for a light workload in February.
House Republicans, beginning in McCarthy's tenure as Speaker, have vowed to not ball up all 12 appropriation bills into one massive package and approve it, a ritual that insiders call passing an omnibus funding bill.
Senior staff will, of course, remain in Washington and continue these negotiations. But at certain points, when issues get the most contentious, committee chairs and congressional leaders need to be in the same room together to make the calls.
Some Republicans blame Johnson for living in fear of those far-right lawmakers, which draws out the process and increases tensions rather than quickly ending this particular funding battle.
Senators, for their part, have only a slightly busier schedule despite their very heavy workload. They'll be in Washington this coming week, followed by 2 shortened work weeks with each having just 1 full day to consider legislation.
Exempting half-days that are scheduled for traveling into or out of Washington, the House has only 5 full legislative days on its calendar before lawmakers leave February 16th for what is slated to be an almost 2-week break from the Capitol.
Some of these politicians have a good life. Some get convicted of crimes, like ex-Congressman Chris Collins. Whatever happened to him?
He was indicted in 2018 while running for re-election, and eventually served a 26-month federal prison sentence. Collins believes that Trump's legal troubles will change the perception of him in a positive way, and that both he and Trump can make comebacks in politics.
Collins served as a congressman from New York and was known for his brusque manner and CEO-style approach to politics. He imposed a business improvement model called Lean Six Sigma during his tenure, which led to layoffs and turned some people off. Despite facing federal indictments and ethics investigations related to stock transactions, Collins won his re-election bid in 2018. He was stripped of committee assignments and shunned by some fellow members of Congress, but he found support in Republican Elise Stefanik. Collins' endorsement of Trump's campaign in 2016 marked a turning point in his political career, leading to greater exposure in national media. His imprisonment in a minimum security lockup in Florida included time spent among convicted drug dealers, hurricane repair scammers, and other inmates. Collins believes that the current political climate is more accepting of politicians with criminal records and that both he and Trump can stage successful comebacks. He and his wife, Mary Sue, live in a luxurious waterfront estate on Marco Island, an area known for its opulence and wealthy residents. Collins' relationship with Trump and his early endorsement of the former president's campaign played a significant role in his political journey. Despite his legal troubles and time in prison, Collins is planning to return to politics and possibly run for Congress once again.
It kind of makes you want to run for Congress, just for the perks. Politics is so polarized these days. An article in Washington Post discusses this growing divide. Why is it so, Karen?
In the article, political psychologists discuss the intensifying tribalism in American politics. They point out that this tribalism is fueled by contempt for the other side. The article highlights the role of effective polarization in today's politics. Social scientists have been studying the rise of tribalism in recent years. They note that policy preferences are now entangled with a visceral dislike of the opposition. The term effective polarization has been coined to describe this phenomenon.
The article mentions that even though human nature hasn't changed, technology has. The fragmentation of the media has made it easier for people to gather information in echo chambers. This is referred to as sorting, where people cluster around specific beliefs and ideas. Redistricting has also led to fewer competitive congressional races. Leaders are more likely to be primaried if they reach across the aisle.
The article talks about the evolutionary roots of group identification in humans. It explains that humans evolved in a challenging world where survival required cooperation. The tendency to form tightly knit groups has deep evolutionary roots. Researchers point out that even children as young as 2 prefer other children randomly assigned to the same group. The article mentions an experiment with Boy Scouts that showed how enmity and derision can arise independently of rational reasons.
In the political arena, candidates often tap into resentment and anger across racial, religious, and cultural lines. The article discusses the role of political operatives in exploiting and encouraging tribalism. It highlights that the American political system may cultivate out-group hatred. Researchers emphasize that humans are instinctively prone to group identification.
The article touches upon the growing division and polarization in American politics. It mentions that more than half of Republicans and Democrats view the other party as a threat. Partisan clustering has increased even within households. The article talks about how political polarization is based on feelings for each other, rather than just policy preferences. The stakes in the 2024 election are high, and there's little movement on either the left or the right.
The article describes the passionate support of Donald Trump among his followers. It mentions the antagonism Trump supporters feel towards the media. The article discusses the logistical challenges faced by Trump supporters attending his rallies. It highlights the emotional and inflammatory nature of today's political rhetoric. The article concludes by noting the current ugliness in American politics and the intensity of tribalism.
No kidding. The world is changing, and lately, thanks to the cold weather, many are complaining about lack of range for their Teslas. Many are panning the new Cybertruck. Big EV trucks, however, are here to stay. Karen.
Electric trucks are still a small portion of the trucking industry, with nearly 13,000 on the road in the U.S., and around 10,000 added in 2023. To meet climate goals, the U.S. aims for all trucks to be zero emissions by 2050, as they contribute to a significant portion of transportation emissions.
Truck drivers operating electric trucks generally appreciate the transition, praising their vehicles' handling, acceleration, smoothness, and quiet operation. The upfront costs of electric trucks and charging infrastructure are concerns for some companies and trucking associations, despite the push towards electric vehicles.
Amazon, FedEx, and Schneider are among the companies deploying electric trucks, with Amazon having electric delivery vans operating in 1,800 cities in the U.S. Some truck companies and advocates call for more incentives and support for installing charging infrastructure for electric trucks, especially for long-haul routes.
Electric trucks are currently best suited for local or regional routes, with ranges of up to 250 miles, making them more practical for defined routes or geography.
Truck drivers who have switched to electric vehicles report benefits in terms of reduced physical strain and improved comfort compared to diesel trucks.
Despite the positive experiences of electric truck drivers, there are concerns about the readiness and reliability of the electric trucking industry.
The U.S. trucking industry faces the challenge of transitioning to electric trucks while addressing issues such as charging infrastructure, range limitations, and costs.
We have time for one more story in our morning show. Karen, what's exciting these days?
In the world of AI doppelgangers, adult content creators are turning to chatbots to keep fans entertained. These chatbots, like Sophie AI, are designed to mimic their creators' appearance and speech, offering fans the opportunity to interact with them at any time of day. Dee, an adult content creator in Las Vegas, has embraced Sophie AI, her AI doppelganger, as a less demanding revenue stream in the adult entertainment industry. Sophie AI, the selfie-generating chatbot, allows fans to engage with it for a monthly subscription starting at $4.99, making money for Dee and offering a 24/7 interactive experience.
Sophie AI is just one example of AI doppelgangers that have emerged in various industries, with creators looking to monetize their existing fan relationships. Karin Marjorie, a Snapchat influencer, debuted a similar bot called Karin AI for fans willing to pay $1 a minute, but the service stopped working after legal troubles involving the company's CEO. The AI chatbot replica faced backlash from users when it pushed an update to make it less sexually assertive, highlighting the challenges of AI in maintaining user engagement.
The AI industry is witnessing the emergence of chatbots and image generators designed to emulate specific individuals, adopting their faces and speech patterns for an uncanny simulation. Some AI-powered chatbots aim to provide a form of companionship, resembling the AI assistant in the movie Her, where a lonely man falls in love with an AI assistant. The potential impact of AI doppelgangers on human interaction and intimacy is a subject of debate, with concerns about conditioning people to expect instant gratification and manipulate interactions. Creators, including adult models, are exploring AI as a means to extend their careers and monetize their fan relationships, offering a continuous and always available presence.
That's it for this morning's show. Have a super day, and remember, spring is just 2 months away.